r/ask Reddit. What's one thing you'll never buy an off-brand version of again? Do car tires count here? Everyone is mentioning food. But Jesus, please, if you are a young person, hear me out now. Don't cheap out on your tires. I second this. Buying high-end winter tires makes a huge difference in driving performance. What if I live in a place that doesn't have winter? With good quality tires, you can drive somewhere that does. Cat litter. I wanted clumping, not piss-laden cement. IDK if you've already tried this, but pine litter is so nice. It turns into a powder when it gets wet, but it traps in smell way better in my opinion. Shoes, especially running. My back will never recover. You don't want to go cheap in those items that go between you and the ground. Shoes, mattress, tires, hamburger buns. I read recently of a massage therapist on Reddit that bought a cheaper table off Amazon, and the first day it broke when an overweight client crawled up in it. She left in tears. They have weight limits. Cheap tables, chairs, and the like usually have a limit around 150-200. Please tell me this limit is in kg and not lbs. Scotch tape. Freaking hate Dollar Tree Scotch tape. Same with post-it notes. Cheap ones have different adhesive and are crap. Dollar store post-its are so depressing. Watching them fall off is like dropping your ice cream cone or your balloon deflating. Not really off-brand, but there were these tampons that were cheaper than my usual and were also eco-friendly. I remember feeling so good about finding something Greenpeace would love me for just to have bits of fluff fly everywhere in my ducking bathroom the second it opened up. They hadn't even pressed the tampon into shape. It was literally just a loose cotton scam that, had I shoved it up my hoo-ha, would have left me living the life of a stuffed bear to this day. Edit. Thanks heaps to those of you who suggested getting a cup. I'd done it before and found it difficult, but through some advice here I found one that is meant to be right for me by doing this quiz. Hope it helps others too. Video game controllers. Mayo, I bought a messed up brand controller because it was $20 over a legit Xbox controller that cost $60. The thing needed batteries but didn't have a slot that opened up to insert batteries, and had a fake USB port. What the actual ducking duck? Edit. This was way back in high school and I can't find a link for the life of me, but I'm glad many shared in my pain. Also, I popped my Reddit 1k cherry, so thank you everyone. Brah. I used to always buy something cheap that looked nice enough. Only recently I went to a lingerie shop for the first time to get properly measured. Bought 2 sets of bra and panties that actually fit perfectly and both feel and look great. My life quality improved in an instant. After 25 plus years in construction, tools. Also, batteries. Good tools are so important. Bought a cheap screwdriver set with those detachable tips. The tips strip so easily. Must have been made out of tin foil. Crayons, colored pencils. No rose art for me or my future children. I actually remember a fist fight breaking out over rose art crayons in elementary school. You would probably be better off coloring with a candle. Classic Dawn dish soap. By far the most effective and more than justifies the cost. A little goes a long way. Also, mixing it 3/4 Dawn to 1/4 water, even half and half, gets a lot more value out of each bottle with no negative effect. Band-aids. Cheap band-aids suck, especially when you need to use them on your fingers. I'm a server and can go through at least 6 or 7 cheap band-aids in one shift for one cut because they fall off as soon as they get wet. I love tough strips because they actually stay on when they get wet, so I only end up changing it maybe once just to be hygienic. Neck scare is best. Never goes on sale though. Oreo cookies. My family bought generic everything, but that was definitely the worst. Oreos are technically the knockoff. The original is Hydrox, which is a terrible name for a cookie. Anything from wish.com. I bought a tablet off of Wish, and I really did my homework. Triple checked all the stats for a week before deciding to pull the trigger. It finally came, and had about a 3-minute battery life. Couldn't get most apps because it was running some janky off-brand version of the Android OS, and it was slower getting a pothole fixed. I broke the screen by accident and opened up the back to see if it could be replaced. 90% of the tablet's volume was styrofoam packing so it wouldn't rattle. There was one singular circuit board the size of a playing card taped on the back of the screen, with 4 wires running out of it, one to the headphone jack, one to the charging port, one to the screen and one into the only other component, a plastic bag, also taped to the back of the screen. I wondered what it could possibly be, and my only thought was that the battery was in that bag. I cut it open and realized that the battery was the bag. Just a bag of lithium with wires running in and out. Never bought another thing from Wish again. Obviously a niche market, but piercing needles and nitrile gloves. The amount of times I've worked for guys who buy cheap shit is maddening. Having 2 or 3 gloves rip in a row as you put them on will drive the sanest man to a breaking point. As for the needles, it was awful. I went from using needles that went through like butter to being able to feel every fiber I was going through almost as if they were barbed, and Dr. Thunder sucks ass. Pads. You've never experienced discomfort if you've never worn a cheap pad. I'm gonna hop in here and say cloth pads actually do it for me. Way more comfortable than any disposable pad, and way more absorbent. Better for the environment and cheaper in the long run too. While we're on the topic, if a tampon user is reading this, you gotta switch to a menstrual cup. Your vagina will thank you. If you're a pad user and interested in trying internal devices, go with a cup. Trust me, combine a cup with cloth pads or period panties as backup and you'll legitimately have the most comfortable and convenient period of your life. Sustainable period care all the way. Work boots. 3 hours in a pair of Walmart $30 Brahmas is worse than 300 hours in even a pretty cheap pair of Wolverines. Yo, seriously you heard me until you said Wolverines. Treat yourself, Red Wings are life. I also had a pair of Doc's steel toes a few years back that were pretty amazing once I broke them and they're heavy though. Like I built some muscle wearing those. Vacuum cleaners. Eventually you just stop vacuuming completely when it isn't strong enough or easy to use. Toilet paper. Charmin Ultra strong every time. My butt deserves the best. 100% headphones. Edit. I expected 30 not almost 1k. And the current one is Sennheiser E2 Prob, misspelled it for it's like a text support mic look but good mic quality and sound. Ones I'm talking about are some off-brand $20 headphones and I bought one a second time. You know when you walk from a PC and forget a headphones, it happens 2 times, headphones ducked. So here I am thinking I would save money and buy the store brand contact solution and then there I go getting pink eye 4 times in 3 months. Clear care for life. For a lot of things now, I'll avoid the Amazon's Choice version of it. Their quality control is absolute garbage, and I've had far too many things break down or not do their job at all. Amazon's Choice is a garbage label slapped on whatever the algorithm wants to get out of the warehouse quickly. It doesn't mean they have actually ever looked at the product, let alone recommend it. Amazon basics tend to be okay. Dr. Pepper. Every store has its own generic soda brand, and every one of them gets their version of Dr. Pepper wrong. Some of the names are amusing, but that's about the only good thing about them. Funnily, in the Netherlands, Dr. Pepper contains artificial sweeteners now. The rip-off Dr. Foods is what is preferable, and much cheaper. Worcestershire sauce. I eat so much bad food I am just waiting for the day for my doctor to tell me that I need to buy the low sodium version of Worcestershire sauce, at which point I will leave him for another medical provider. Raisin Bran. Sounds weird but the generic brands are horrible. Rocks for raisins and the flakes are like cardboard. For only the finest breakfast experience. Kellogg's trademark sign Raisin trademark sign Bran trademark sign stands out as the superior choice, making you the envy of all your friends and family. Disclaimer. I totally work for the Kellogg's trademark sign marketing department and make a shitload of money off this post from my summer home in the Hamptons trademark sign. I knew this post seemed familiar. How are you, Bob? Bob and I go way back when we shared an icy cold Coca-Cola, the favored soft drink beverage of the United States and world renowned for its bubbly refreshing goodness, available at your nearest store in choice of only the best restaurants around in the Hamptons. Cheez-It crackers. Any other type of cheese cracker, looking at you, especially cheese nips, can take a long walk off a short pier. The only other cheese cracker that was good was Better Cheddars. but they apparently don't sell them anymore. Better cheddars are still around. I just bought a box a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they're limited to certain areas? Expo markers. The off-brand ones either put gobs of ink on my whiteboard or run out in half the time Expo does. Plus, most of them are a pain to clean off the board and never erase fully. Goodies hair ties. All those tangle-free off-brands are garbage. I bought 3 packs because I used to go through them so fast. 2 years later I haven't opened the last 2 packs. As a thick-haired person who moved to Wales, it took me a long time to find the right brand here. I used to require people who visited me to bring either coffee creamer, marshmallow matties, Gatorade, or Goodies hair ties. There is nothing like the rage I feel when a hair tie snaps, and I almost never have that with Goodies. It's more likely to stretch out than snap, and that I can deal with. Gummy bears, Haribo or go home. Ritz crackers. Off-brand foods are usually hits or mess, but off-brand Ritz crackers are a hard no. Everything's wrong. The texture, the taste, it's just no. Sleeping pills. I bought sleeping pills from the dollar store because I had chronic insomnia and I am naturally nocturnal. I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom and brought my pillow with me. I tried to hang it up over the shower curtain rod like a towel and just chucked it into the shower/tub. I then went to go back to sleep and couldn't find my pillow. I had completely forgot what I just did with it. Then after suction cupping my ear to my arm for 20 minutes, I decided to go look for it, bringing my phone for a flashlight so I wouldn't wake up my wife. Per smartphone, so I was using the screen for light. I remember it being 1:30 AM. My next memory of this night was being asleep, standing up standing over my wife's side of the bed. I remember trying very hard to wake up. I kept trying to look around with my phone light and couldn't see anything. Then I kept trying to check my phone to see what time it was. I couldn't see. I couldn't move. All I remember is basically standing there completely paralyzed, thinking I am going to fall on my wife and kill her cause she is so tiny. Finally the sun came up, waking me up somehow, still standing, and I went to sleep on the couch. Found my pillow when I turned on the shower for my wife the next morning. Edit. This is probably what it was that I took. DollarTree.com link. Edit 2. Wife corrected me. She remembers throwing it away. Goodsense.com link. This was it for sure. Instant Pot. The generic electric pressure cookers will work, but have absolutely shit design and last nowhere as long. And they try to BS features like slow cook where you assume it would work as a crock pot for actual slow cooking. Nope. They mean waste 6 hours of your time allowing your food to enjoy a nice steam and not cook at all. Toilet paper. I had to buy a 6-pack of that sandpaper early on in the pandemic because that is all I could find and I was out. Holy shit balls. My pampered ass still hasn't recovered. Q-tips. Makeup. I've always been hesitant to spend a lot of money on makeup until I started trying the higher quality name brands, and it makes such a huge difference. The more expensive makeup actually does apply better, wears lighter and longer, and doesn't smudge or run. To each his own on this one. There are plenty of really good drugstore products. You just have to find them. You'll definitely end up buying some duds. And on the other side of things, just because something is expensive doesn't mean it's good. There are some duds in expensive makeup too, or at least some products are not different in a way that justifies the price, especially if you're on a budget. Brakes. Never cheap out on your car's brakes. They are the only thing stopping your car and could mean the difference between life and death in some circumstances. Philly cream cheese. Every store brand I've tried to save a few bucks with makes gritty texture cheesecakes. Black. You buy Kotex. I tried the off-brand. They're not enough to stand up to my Kegel muscles. You buy Kotex not only stays in and does the job, their wrappers last 3+ months in my purse, which is a hard life. A cursed life. Thank you Kotex. You are strong enough to stand up to a woman and her purse. Why does this read like such an Adlmayo? Automotive parts. After working on cars for 20 years I trust dealer parts over parts house brands. I don't trust something just because it says OEM quality. They can put that on anything. Cheerios. My husband bought some when our son was a little over a year old. They were circular, zeros, but flattened, if that makes sense. Our son ate a couple and then cried. Hubby tried putting them in an old Cheerios box, but when he saw they were flat, he started crying again. A waste of money. Cereal is expensive, but if you want to eat it, for the most part get the name brand. Flea medication. I bought an off-brand at the store a few years ago and came home to both my cats needing to go to the emergency vet. They had neurological issues. My male had a seizure, and my girl nearly died. Buy your flea meds straight from the vet, y'all. Freezer bags. That is, Ziploc bags. I bought sushi at Walgreens once and it was one of the most disgusting things I have ever tried. Ate one bite and threw it out, but I mean I guess I should have expected it and at least I didn't get sick. Pop-Tarts. Shoes. Definitely shoes. Every off-brand pair I've gotten wear out completely in about 3 months of wear. Brand name shoes last years. Edit. Thank you for the award, kind stranger. Cheap condoms have expensive consequences. Beds and bedding. Not necessarily off-brand, but if there's one thing you spend money on, make sure it is those. You can't put a price on getting consistent good nights of sleep. Phone chargers. The cheap one worked for a week, so I had to buy the brand name charger anyway. Jelly Bellies. All other beans are subpar. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.